Good morning. Have you ever noticed why news shows the light is so bright? It's Monday. I mean, does anybody need bright light on a Monday? Or my armpit? No. And why does everybody have to be so dressed up? I mean, showered, looking good. I might do that one morning just for the hell of it and see if I get more views. Look like Megyn Kelly. After I have basically my whole self like suctioned out. Anyway, I think that morning news hours can be casual. Now, my parents, they're leaving today. As an aside, I've discovered I require a tremendous amount of alone time. I know I have 4 children. Anyway, little Thomas goes to Camp Trinity today. It's exciting. And some friends are going to come and visit on the way after. So Russell's at camp. Amos is at day camp with Logan. This morning he said, say hi to Logan. And it's Blair and I. Can someone remind me next year to sign Blair up for camp? She rode with me to take Amos this morning. And then we're going to get to serious news. But this is what people do, don't they? Like Katie Couric. Oh, I don't think she's on the news anymore. But people like tell her, crap going on. She wants a hamster. She wants to go see Incredibles 2. Again, she wants to go get a pedicure. She wants to go to Michelangelo's Pizza so they can throw her dough. And what else? My cousin's texting me. My cousin's here this week. I want to visit with her. Anyway, she's got all these plans. And you know what I want to do? I want to stay in this bed, in this dark room. See it? And I want to work on my book. But it's a problem. Do I ignore her all week and work on my book? Or do I do all the shit that I don't want to do and not work on my book? And then I feel guilty if I don't do something with her. And if I do anything that's not involving her, she's going to remember it, that it was the week I ignored her. So it's all or nothing. Anyway, this is so annoying. Now, we're going to go over some top 10 news stories because morning hour with Adrian. These are top 10 news stories in my mind. I even made notes because, I have a very short-term memory. The woman that called the police on the 8-year-old selling water. That's not good. Did y'all see that? And I mean, I just can't say enough how bad that is. This little girl is 8. My daughter is 8 and selling water, which let me just say, so when we have lemonade stands, we always sell water. And I'm like, water is the smartest thing in the world to sell because you can get a whole case for $2 and we sell them each for $1. Well, do the math. I mean, it's a pretty big, bunny. You way more money on that than lemonade. So, anyway, I think that's smart. I encourage the same thing. But this woman called the police. Little girl was black, the woman's white. And so this morning I'm reading up on it, and there are all these comments. People are mad at the Today Show for reporting the story. And they said, why'd you make this about race? Okay, if we're pretending that that's not about race, we in trouble. And not only was the woman, she actually didn't call the police, she pretended to call the police, which is even worse. I mean, I'm going to use these scare tactics. Sorry I'm laughing, but it's terrible. Did y'all ever watch that show, Scare Tactics? Holy cow. If you can find it, you ought to watch it. It's really funny. I think when my husband got his wisdom teeth out, we watched it for 8 hours straight. But anyway, and then when another woman was videoing her calling the police. The lady ducked behind a brick wall. I mean, didn't she think the person was going to come follow her? And not to mention, she sells pot. The fake police caller sells pot. Well, evidently not anymore because people aren't going to buy it from her. So that's one news story. Just let children sell things. And buy them. Always buy them. I don't care if you don't want oranges or water. Buy them. The good news is she was raising money to go to Disneyland, and Disneyland gave the family 4 tickets. Good job, Disneyland. I think that is a wonderful, wonderful thing. Speaking of wonderful things, Walgreens got into a little bit of trouble. Wasn't Walgreens' fault, but there was a pharmacist there that wouldn't give a woman her medication. So she'd had a miscarriage. And what that means, sometimes, like in my case, my first pregnancy, babies, twins in my case, stopped developing, and so had to have a DNC. Like heart stopped beating. Well, that's still called an abortion. I know, and that it doesn't seem fair, but it is. And this woman was given an option of having medicine to kind of help get the process going. Well, the pharmacist wouldn't prescribe the medicine. Read about that pharmacist. Okay. Based on it was unethical. Now, I get if she was still pregnant or was pregnant. I understand that. Doesn't mean it's right or wrong or whatever you want to think. That's fine. But there's clearly a sign of you can like cite why it could be unethical. In this case, I can't figure out what's unethical. And this one person was defending it to the hilt. And I was like, just tell me, thou shalt not what? I mean, I really don't understand. It's the same as me. I was thinking if somebody said to me, she asked for ice in her water. No, it's unethical. I mean, I totally don't get it. You're no longer pregnant, and you need help getting tissue out of your body. Sorry. I just can't think. That's not unethical. I refuse to agree with you. Speaking of refusing to agree with you, I'm in Facebook jail currently. And that's not national news, but it is Adrian news. And so over the last 3 months, I have about 2 million page views per week on Facebook. You know what they've been the last week? 200,000. It's very sneaky. I think that's 90% down or something. At least 80. I can't do math that quickly without my fingers. So I'm in Facebook jail. I don't know why. I think I'm confusing people. I write things like a liberal, and then I admit I voted for Trump, and then people die and run away. Hundreds of people fled. I mean, talk about running away from danger. So odd. It's like I was pretending to be Hitler, or not Hitler, and then I said, I'm Hitler! Oh, anyway. I'm over it now, though. I've perked up. I just can't take it. How much is the bail? Facebook bail jail. Oh, jail. So if I'm in Facebook jail, what you need to do to get me out of jail, you go to my page and it says following, and you can click on it. And when you click on following, it'll say unfollow. Don't pick that. Follow. And then all the way to the right, it says pick first. So you can pick me first to see me. And then that gets me out of Facebook jail. It's like a modern day monopoly. Yep. Okay. Now, what else have we not talked about? This is a big one. And I mean, I put this post out this morning and none of y'all even like it. Maybe because I'm in Facebook jail. But this is a big deal. Maybe because people can't argue about it. People love to argue. Saudi Arabia is the last, I don't know if it's the last or the only place in the world where women could not drive. Now, it's not a law, but they were banned. And so, did they tell you why you're in Facebook jail? I don't know, but I got several messages from people saying that Facebook sent them surveys on how they knew me. It's kind of like Kim Jong-un has bought Facebook. Scary. Lori, how's my hair looking? I think it needs you. Okay, anyway, Saudi Arabia. So Sunday at midnight, the ban was lifted so women could drive cars. Now, what exactly do you mean as a fiscal conservative? Do I have to talk about that today, John? It's Monday. What I mean is, let's say you think that people's children should be taken away at the border. Fine, let's go with that. Do you want to pay $750 a night for a child to sit in a rent-a-tent? So even if you think it's wonderful, which there was a woman today still defending that policy, even though it no longer exists. You know how expensive it is to do something like that? So people that claim to be, you know, I don't know, conservative something, who wants to waste all that? And a lot of times it's made from this, like, we can't take care of everybody. Well, this is a hell of a lot more expensive. Anyway, that's just me. I'm not going anymore. Okay, now, Saudi Arabia. Clearly, y'all don't want to hear about Saudi Arabia, and I want you to hear about it because I want you to think about what it's like to live somewhere where you can't drive. So this one woman who I shared her story about, she's a physician. She can't take her children to school. She can't go to the drugstore. She can't go to the grocery. If she wants to meet a friend for wine, she has to get a ride. Can you imagine? Clearly you can't. Well, you need to think about it and be thankful because it sucks. So anyway, now women can drive. Though there's like a huge wait for classes for 3 months ahead. And 120,000 women have applied for a license and they have to, so anyway, it's a big deal. No wine in Saudi Arabia. Oh, I didn't know that. I did research. Well, that's terrible. Why even go out with people? Anyway, maybe it's not so exciting after all. Now, let's see what else. Oh, now this seems a little bit sad to me. The Little House on the Prairie books, which I adore, have been taken off. Like, they had this huge book award. Of course, now I can't remember the name of it because I forgot to look it up. But they were removed from having the book award. And you know why? Because they said that Laura Ingalls Wilder, the author, kind of played into these stereotypes years ago about black people or maybe Native Americans, which I'm sure she did. Now I'm up to discussions about this. But just because you give a book award, that doesn't mean you're rewarding that type of thing, does it? I still think it's kind of neat it adds for conversation. I mean, people did have those attitudes back then, and they weren't good, but I don't know. I just don't like the feel of that. Those books are great. I've been reading, okay, well, that's a lie. I read like 2 nights to Thomas and Blair. I had this real like guilt feeling that I didn't read to people anymore. I think we're still in chapter 2, but I'm going to get back to it because it's almost July. Relevant to the time period. Yeah. It doesn't mean you're saying, yes, this is how we want to act. But anyway, I don't think it has to be a bad thing I mean, what a great idea to talk about in a book that's won an award of like, hey, let's look at this. Let's look how stereotypes are different. I mean, have y'all read Caddie Woodlawn? Ooh, it's good. But I mean, and it's a true story based on her grandmother's. Anyway, that's that. Now, now this is an interesting one. Hello from Colorado. So I was at Myrtle Beach last week with Edward Jones. Thomas? Nothing like a live video to chase people away. Do you need something? No. Why are you coming in here? I'm on the air. I know that. Oh, well, close the door, you dodo bird. Yes. Yes, sir. Right now. Close it. Went to Myrtle Beach and did a talk for the spouses of Edward Jones. That was really fun. My children are insane. And anyway, it was really fun. I did the talk, and then I went and got my kids, and then what did we do? Oh, we went back and hung out with them on the beach. Anyway, I like Edward Jones. I could go do those talks all the time. There was such a nice group of people. It was really fun. Though I might have embarrassed myself a little bit because I got in a fight with this lifeguard on the beach. Did you know that in South Carolina, there is an ordinance about how far deep you can go in the ocean? mean, that was the dumbest thing I've ever heard. The lifeguard tells me, and I look up the law later, and he's a little bit not being honest. He says you can only go chest high. Well, the law says shoulder. I'm so confused. So does that mean you can't surf? So I was out in the ocean about up to my chest, which isn't, it was calm too. I mean, anyway, on a sandbar, and I had Amos in his U.S. Life Coast Guard thing approved thing, life jacket, and he didn't like me to hold him, so I was letting him float beside me. It wasn't rough. There was no current, no riptide. And the lifeguard starts going like this, pointing and like whistling at me. So I'm like, what, me? So I go in, and he's like, you know, you can't go that deep, da 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 da. And I was like, what are you talking about? He said, it's a city ordinance. And I was like, are you going to call the police on me? He said, I could. I was like, were they going to take me to jail or write me a ticket? And then I was like, well, that would go too far. Here, these people at Edward Jones have paid me, and then I like cause a big scene and get a ticket on the beach. So I didn't go that far. But my new friend that was with Edward Jones, she was like, I took your picture because I knew you might want it for a post. I mean, and I didn't do a post, but damn it, that really annoyed me. So, and then he says about Amos, he can't go above his chest. Well, Amos is all of like 8 inches tall. And so I started thinking about, well, what if a little person, like a grown-up who has, maybe is a dwarf or is exceptionally small, are they not allowed to go in the ocean above their chest? And what if their children go out deep? Can they not go get them? Is that against the law? So South Carolina, I did call the office and they didn't answer. They must have my number. I'm just going to tell you, you need to really rethink that, because that's a problem. To me, it just seems like a lifeguard doesn't want to have to save anybody. And if anybody defends that, I'll ban you. Mm-hmm. Yes, I will. Y'all think I'm mean as hell? You ain't seen mean. I can get mean. Speaking of which, this woman this morning, she said something to me. What was it? Oh, she had some dumb comment, and I put that thing. Some people don't know on Facebook you cannot say comments, and she said it's none your business as one word. And so then I said, I can delete you. And she said, go ahead. You know, and like cursed at me, delete me. Well, then I looked on her first Facebook page, and of course she's got a profile picture of Mother Teresa. Are these people on crack? So you know how to comment with that picture. I mean, if you're going to pretend you're, if you're going to be like a total hard ass and mean, don't have a picture of Mother Teresa as your profile picture. Maybe this should be like social media news, since that's where I get all my news anyway. Now, anything else? Oh, the Hilton versus the Marriott at Myrtle Beach. So when you go somewhere, does anybody else try to figure out where to stay? And you read like where to stay. Well, now, if you put where to stay in Myrtle Beach, best place to stay, it's all travel sites that have been paid to tell you where to stay. And so I have this friend, Sarah Hirsch, and she has a travel blog called Well Traveled Kids. And it's great. That's how we're going to Mexico if we ever get those damn passports. To go stay at the Hard Rock and to kind of tell about it. Now, please do not ban me. We have so many visitors to Myrtle Beach, and we love them so much. Are you the mayor of Myrtle Beach? I like Myrtle Beach too. But if I lived in Myrtle Beach, I might encourage the Myrtle Beach City Council to think about the chest high ban. Anyway, it's just me. Now you've got me all thrown off. Oh, where to stay. So when I'm looking at Myrtle Beach, there's a Hilton, there's a Marriott, there's a this. Well, they all look the same to me. I mean, they really do. So I picked the Hilton because they have a water park. Now, my friend Sarah Hirsch that has Well Traveled Kids. So her website is for really nice hotels, right? I might have to interested to know about this guards claim. Oh no, I looked it up on the Myrtle Beach City Council website. It is an ordinance. But I would say that it goes against the Americans with Disabilities Act. Just nobody's called them out because nobody wants to sit around and argue with lifeguards. But me. Now, bug in there. Anyway, I picked the Hilton. Legal liability. John Purser. But if you're out like 50 yards, then you're not like under the city ordinance. So once you swim out far enough, they're not going to get you. And like the police don't arrest you after 5 o'clock. It's just the lifeguard. If something's a law, then it's a law all the time, like speeding, right? Anyway, the cost of insurance. And if there's no, anyway, I think it's dumb, but I obviously have a lot of opinions. Now, I stayed at the Hilton Kingston Plantation. Okay, the Marriott is amazing. Yes, I will say the service at the Hilton was fantastic. Those people could not have been nicer. But the Marriott was nicer. So I'm thinking I need to start this website and have it be pick the nice hotel. I don't know, something dumb. But at the Hilton, which was fun, but like when you were in the pool, there were people line dancing around the pool, and there was a DJ playing really loud music. At the Marriott, there were like nice chairs, and there was some music, but it was like, you know, the Cranberries or something off in the distance. And there were hammocks. Now, what I told the person at the Hilton, who was very nice to me, I said, you know, I think your hotel is great, but I think you ought to be honest about the ambiance, right? Be careful with the Myrtle Beach police. I think my husband got arrested in Myrtle Beach for like drinking and had to pick up trash or something on spring break sometime. I need to ask him that. Anyway, so we stayed at the Hilton. And the next night they were like, oh, and so we stay in this room on the ocean. Well, it has a balcony. Great. Well, the railings are 6 inches apart. So we go out there, and I'm with Amos, and he puts his head through the rail. Well, you know, if your head can fit through a rail, so can your shoulders. And so I did say that to the Hilton. I was like, there's a lifeguard that's like ready to kill me for being above my bosom in the ocean, yet my son's going to like plummet to his death 30 feet away. Anyway, it seemed really odd to me. And I said to the Hilton, if somebody like falls from this deck, like this is terrible. And I realized it was built before code. If anybody tells me something like that, I'm going to kill them. But like, it's different now. So young children, particularly with autism, shouldn't have access to a deck. I had to have a babysitter, and I was like, do not go in the hotel room. I mean, I was really nervous, and I'm not like a chicken. Anyway, that was bad. But so the next night, the Hilton was really nice and gave us, they were like, well, we're going to put you in these 2 rooms. And it's a hospitality suite. It's like, that's great. So we go in the 405, 406. Great. We get our card, and we go in the room, and it's 2 rooms with like a half wall between, and each room looks like a living room. And I was like, oh, it's a hospitality suite. So we stay there. We did not sleep very good. And the next day I was like, we're checking out early. We can't take it. She was like, well, you got this one room. And I was like, well, I don't know why y'all keep calling it 2 rooms. It's got a half wall. She was like, well, no, that's one room, and you had another room. I was like, what? What other room? I got this packet of cards. Nobody said, wouldn't that have been like 2 packets of cards? Like, this is for this room, and this is for this room. Evidently, there was some room somewhere where there was a real bed. So, we didn't have to pay. So, anyway, and again, Hilton was very nice. But now when I like called and was like, hey, would y'all want to sponsor us to stay there? And they were like, no. Well, you know why they didn't want to do that? Because they knew I might write something bad. Anyway, if you're going to Myrtle Beach, I would stay at the Marriott. Just to tell you that. So, there you go. Unless you're going with a bunch of girls and want to drink and line dance at the pool. So, that's the truth. Now, oh, Walgreens. Did I already tell the Walgreens stuff? Walgreens wouldn't give the lady her prescription. But then we went to Walgreens yesterday to get our passport pictures, and Miss Anita was so nice to us. It took like 20 minutes to get Amos's picture. Evidently, you have to sit with your head straight, and you're not supposed to smile. So if any of y'all looked at my post yesterday, he looked like this. It was funny. But I appreciate Walgreens doing that because, you know, some things can be such a pain in the butt. Like we were in Myrtle Beach, we went to breakfast, or we tried, to this place called Blueberries. Somebody on my blog told me about. Real good, let me say that. And Amos immediately laid out on the floor in there, and people were, which it's just so tiring. He does crap like that everywhere we go, and the bigger he gets, the worse it looks. So to have a person like Miss Anita that's like, whatever, it is really nice. Really nice. So when you see a child acting terrible, maybe they're just bad and they don't have autism, don't be nice to the parent, because it's not going to help anything if you're mean. It's really not. Different travel needs. Ooh, yes, they do. What else? Oh, this is the last thing. So I like the Washington Post, but when you try to read the Washington Post on Facebook, it tries to make you pay. I'm sorry, but I'm not going to pay to read news. I mean, maybe I should start charging y'all. I could charge like $1 a month. I know there's probably some good reason, but it annoys me because you get some free articles. Anyway, I'm not paying. I just can't have a problem with that. You can make money other ways. Oh, Amos Camp. It's going so well that I can hardly bring myself to write about it. I can't even decide how to start writing about it. It is fantastic. I could do a whole news hour on Medicaid and Trillium. You need coffee. So the program that pays for Amos to do this, it's Medicaid paid. Some state funds too, and some local, but mainly Medicaid. And anyway, if you ever had any thoughts out there about why, you know, people take advantage of Medicaid, I want you to remember Adrian and Amos and how Medicaid might have saved our summer. Okay? He has his own person who's a first grade teacher, and it's a group of 5 children and 5 adults, and they go around in a minivan and they go do all sorts of fun stuff, and it's free for us. And today they're going to the pool. It's through Trillium. So Trillium kind of manages all the money for people with developmental disabilities and other issues in Eastern North Carolina. So years ago we had institutions, and when we decided those weren't so great, all that kind of institution money went into Trillium. Message me about the details. Well, I'm not going to message you, but I'll tell you right here. Trillium, and if you look on the website for Trillium, it'll tell you about different programs. And I think there are 3 or 4 camps of these in the state of North Carolina, and this one is in Newport. And you can apply to go, and depending on what my parents are leaving, I'm going to have to go say goodbye. Depending on what services you get, depends on who gets in. We don't get any services from Medicaid. We don't have Cap C. We don't have the waiver. So we don't qualify for Medicaid. And can't get my daughter to qualify for Medicaid. You need to get yourselves on the waiting list for the Innovations waiver if you're in Eastern North Carolina. The waiting list is about 7 years. We've been on it 2. And that would help for services for your child once they get off. So anyway, so camp has been great. Okay, let me go tell my parents goodbye. I'll see you later. Goodbye.